Welcome to the second part of chapter 14. In the first part, we discussed the environment and technological advancements and their impact on strategic management. In the second part, we will focus on strategy and strategy formulation for the organization. When we think about strategy formulation, we have to take a few steps back and start with the organizational vision or the organizational mission. The organizational vision and mission represent what the organization's purpose is. What is its reason for existence? Why was it created? What need is it meeting? What bridge is it What gap is it bridging? This is why the organization exists, and the mission creates clarity for organizational members, gives them a sense of direction and excitement about what the organization seeks to accomplish. Organizational members, organizational leaders, then would put goals in place, both short-term and long-term, that might enable the organization to make its mission and vision reality. The strategy is the roadmap, a plan of the path we need to take, and it might be a set of strategies that will enable us to cope with the environment, both the business environment and the general environment that we discussed in the first part of this chapter, and achieve the organization's missions, goals, and vision. Vision statements and mission statements are very important because they give organizational members a sense of direction. They create a sense of excitement about what the organization is about, and also enable employees to have clarity as to what the organization hopes to accomplish. Right? I'll give you an example of a mission statement here. To be Earth's most customer-centric company, to build a place where people can come to find and discover anything they might want to buy online. Could you guess what company's mission statement that is? If you guessed Amazon, you're right. This is Amazon's mission statement. Another mission statement: to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. What was your guess this time? If it was Starbucks, you were right. And indeed, Starbucks was created initially to be this third place between home and work. And this is why the Starbucks coffee shops are very often designed almost like somebody's living room, a place where we can relax between home and work. And so these mission statements are a very important foundation for organizational members to set the goals that they want to accomplish in order to make the mission and vision reality. The strategic plan is the path of the actions that we need to take in order to accomplish our goals, our mission, our vision, while taking the organizational environment into consideration. Organizational leaders engage in environmental scanning. If you remember in the chapter on leadership, we distinguished management and leadership and argued that managers' role is to create stability, predictability, whereas leaders' role is to sense the environment and generate change to respond to the environment. And so leaders' role is to span the organizational boundaries, look outside the organization, sense the environment, both the business and general environment, determine what's relevant for our organization, and then enact the environment by engaging in a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. So the organizational leadership scans the environment, determines what's relevant, analyzes the results of what they discovered in the environmental scanning process, conducts a SWOT analysis, and then formulates a strategy that takes the environmental variables into consideration and sets a roadmap on how the organization, what the organization should do, what the organization should plan to do to accomplish its goals and make its vision and mission reality. So what is a SWOT analysis or a SWOT matrix? The SWOT matrix allows organizational leaders to look internally at their organizations and determine what the organization's strengths are and what the organization's weaknesses are, as well as look externally and identify in the process of environmental scanning what the new opportunities are and what potential threats are. When leaders use such a SWOT matrix, it can help leaders decide what the organization should do. When we identify an opportunity in an area we have strength, this is an obvious path that represents relatively limited risk and high likelihood of success. For example, when new technologies enabled online education, many universities banked on the strength that they already had, the human resources, the capabilities to deliver coursework, and did that online. And so that's an example of how technological advancements, communication technology, enabled organizations to bank on the strength by delivering online education. And that's a potential path that many universities have taken that has high likelihood of success because it benefits from an existing strength and takes advantage of an opportunity. If we identify an opportunity in an area where we do not have a strength, it has the potential to produce growth, but the risk is higher. The risk is still manageable, but it is higher than in the previous situation in which we had a strength. And so organizations that identify an opportunity in an area where they have a weakness, they might need to identify and address internal issues, invest in enhancing internal capabilities, and then try to take advantage of this opportunity. When we experience a threat in an area in which we have a strength, this is also relatively easy to address and should be easy to defend when organizations become aware of external factors and can mobilize internal capabilities to respond to the external threats. For example, in the 1980s, Xerox faced a lot of competition from Canon and Ricoh, two smaller, leaner, global copier manufacturers that were starting to eat into Xerox's market share. And so Xerox identified that threat and banked on its internal capabilities of market dominance, technological expertise, presence in multiple markets to fend off that threat. And Xerox was able to survive and continue to be successful in their business. And so that's an example in which Xerox had to adjust some of its operations to take advantage of its strength to fend off some of the external threats. The most difficult situation is when organizations face a threat in an area in which they have a weakness. And in that case, there is high risk of failure because the threat exists in an area of weakness. I can think of, for example, Blockbuster that failed to recognize early enough the competition they were facing from Netflix. And by the time they tried to engage in a similar business model, allowing people to have movies shipped to their homes, have DVDs shipped to their homes, and not pay any late fees, it was already too late, and they were not able to overcome the competition that eventually took them out of business. One last point that I would like to make before we wrap up our discussion of strategy is the importance of identifying different types of strategies. And those strategies are identified by Michael Porter, who is a well-known organizational researcher, and he identified two key strategies: low cost and differentiation. And we'll talk about those a little bit more in detail. The two types of strategies that Michael Porter identified are low cost and differentiation. Low cost strategies mean that organizations try to find ways to design or produce, market, or deliver their products or services more efficiently than competitors, which enables them to then pass on those cost savings to their customers. Think about Walmart. Walmart has significant operational efficiencies. They do the same things as many other retailers, but they do it at a lower cost. And so they're able to reduce their costs and pass this cost savings on to their customers. That's a low cost strategy. Think about IKEA. IKEA also pursues a low cost strategy. They offer their customers fewer options in terms of furnishing. Customers have to pick the furniture up themselves. They have to assemble them themselves. But as a result, IKEA can offer customers lower cost of their products. And it can be very appealing to a particular market segment, like new families or people living in smaller spaces that can enjoy that product base. And so IKEA and Walmart are two examples of organizations that pursue a low-cost strategy. A different strategy is differentiation. In this strategic approach, organizations provide unique and different products of superior quality with unique or special or customized features. So if we want to stay with the previous example, an organization in the same industry as IKEA that pursues a very different strategy might be Broyhill Furniture. They pursue a differentiation strategy. At Broyhill, you can come in and select from multiple types of furniture and multiple types of fabrics for upholstery and size and many options for customizing the furniture to your style. And this company will also assemble furniture for you, deliver it to your house, and put it where you want it. And you will pay for that higher quality service. And so differentiation strategy offers customers more personalized or customized or higher quality products, which is quite a different approach from the low-cost strategy and will, of course, appeal to a very different market base. An important factor to remember when we're talking about strategy is that strategy often involves trade-offs. We can rarely be all things to all people. And so it is clear that if we're pursuing a low-cost strategy, we will appeal to a certain customer base, but we will not appeal to a different customer base. And we have to recognize those trade-offs. Granted, IKEA is now also offering customers the option to have furniture delivered and assembled in their home for an additional cost, but IKEA still pursues a low-cost strategy in terms of the quality of the furniture and the selection options. And so organizations have to be cognizant of the trade-offs that are associated with the strategic path that they select. When organizations try to pursue two incongruent strategies, that's referred to as straddling, when organizations try to pursue two strategies at the same time. For example, Continental Airlines at the time tried to compete with low-cost airlines by introducing Continental Light. They had the Continental Airlines, which was the full-service airline that gave customers assigned seating, preferred seating, different class sections on the plane, food and beverage service, checked luggage to the final destination, earning frequent flyer miles, all of these things that come along with a full service airline. And at the same time, Continental also launched Continental Light, which was sent to compete with the low-cost airlines, no frills airlines, with no assigned seat, no beverage service, no checked luggage to final destination, and no opportunity to earn frequent flyer miles. And this was a situation in which Continental tried to straddle two opposing strategies, which created some very significant difficulties for the company because consumers who purchased tickets on Continental Light were expecting the same quality service that Continental would offer them, the full service airline, and were very frustrated when they discovered that was not the case. And so organizations have to understand that every strategy will come with certain trade-offs. Okay? This concludes our discussion of strategy, and in the last part of this chapter, we'll discuss organizational structure.